It was the perfect day to be in the kitchen when we met Chef Keith Hoare. Outside, a typical Toronto grey winter overcast dominated the skies. So read into this what you will, but the sun's rays found a way through. And let's be honest, we could all use a little sunlight in these trying times, or in the case of this story, a little more food on our plates. Even today, the headlines from a year ago are still hard to bear. The coronavirus is spreading at an alarming rate, and as everything began to shut down, Keith got on the phone with longtime friend and fellow chef John Placco, planting the seed for what would become the busiest professional year of their lives. And it's not like they weren't busy before. Chef John is the mad scientist of the two, an expert in molecular gastronomy, the chemistry of cuisine. He was set to launch a chocolate business in 2020 to complement his catering business, where he makes unique desserts like edible helium balloons.
I was invited to Russia, to the World Chefs Organization to present there. So it was looking like it was going to be like one of the best years. And all of a sudden, it just came to a screeching halt. Every part of my business, the consulting, the airport restaurant, the sales of ingredients for molecular cuisine, and the events, like everything just completely stopped.
Well, it's cooled down a little bit. Just pull that skin right off. Nice chicken.
Chef Keith rolls in different circles. He's the beloved teacher of the two, always thinking of new ways to challenge his students at Thistletown Collegiate, a school in Rexdale, one of Toronto's most diverse yet economically challenged neighborhoods. If the main course he teaches is the culinary arts, dessert is a heavy dose of empathy. And he leads by example. When he noticed some of his students weren't eating properly at home, he started up a food bank inside the school. And every month, at least pre-pandemic, his class would prepare a meal for a youth or women's shelter. But they never know what food will be donated, so they're forced to improvise.
With some cinnamon, where would I be?
Oh, I got it, mate, right
You got cinnamon, sir?
Yeah.
Just as Chef Keith did when he won an episode of Chop Canada.
So that means you, Chef Keith Hoare, are our Chop Canada champion, and you're gonna make a lot of kids happy because you just won $10,000. Congratulations.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
And true to form, he gave his students extra motivation to cheer him on.
They did, because I said when I went on the show that I would use, if I won, that I would use the money to help fund a trip to Europe. And so that's what I did. I took the $10,000 prize and we went to Spain and France.
With your students?
With the students, yeah.
So these are our chefs, and this was their challenge.
Yeah, it all started with Keith giving me a call and saying, can you come out to Humber College? They've got a lot of food there. Classes have stopped. They want to donate it.
As one of the larger colleges in the GTA, Humber buys a lot of food for its culinary program and cafeterias. But with everything shut down in March 2020, it had $50,000 worth of fresh food and no one to eat it. Until the two chefs contacted food banks in Mississauga, which were experiencing a spike in users.
We saw a pretty quick, stiff increase of 17 to 24%. And then year to date, we're seeing, at times we see up to 30%.
Numbers like that are hard for any food bank to swallow. But the heartburn really begins when you consider they rely almost exclusively on community donations. And that was about to dry up for Peter Costello of Mississauga's Eat and Food for Change, because his two biggest suppliers, schools and churches, were shut down.
And churches and faith groups are suffering as well. And so where they traditionally were good supporters of us, they tried to, but they couldn't do it. And that no longer with the schools operating, could we get support from, say, a Toonie Tuesday kind of event and things like that.
So the two chefs had pretty good timing, but there was a problem. All that food from Humber, as well as more donated by hotels and industry suppliers, was originally intended to be used in weddings and large events. All of it fresh and perishable. The clock was ticking. And being the chefs that they are, wasting food of that quality and in that quantity was never going to happen.
To me, it's almost criminal to be throwing away good food when they've lost their jobs, they're struggling money-wise, and to find food for their families. It should not be going to landfill.
And this is where it gets a little crazy, because they had inadvertently found an overlooked element of food insecurity. Shelters and food banks were still offering baskets filled with non-perishables, but with their kitchens closed, they could no longer offer prepared meals for seniors and people with disabilities who can't cook on their own. So chefs John and Keith, along with their wives, turned on their stoves, rolled up their sleeves, and went to work preparing full meals and desserts from their home kitchens. How many hours a day were you in the kitchen cooking?
Oh, probably 10 or 12 hours a day. It was non-stop. It was from morning till night, 6-7 days a week. Yeah, it was non-stop.
So we're probably up at about 40 to 50,000, meals that we've sent out to shelters and food banks.
Between 4 people?
Between 4 people, yeah.
That doesn't seem remarkable at all.
Word spread about what they were doing, and soon a few carloads of food would become truckloads. Chef's Warehouse, along with other suppliers that sell food in bulk to restaurants, had skids of product it could either give away or throw out. Sales manager Lee Bagley says there was almost too much.
I was, optimistic that they could be put to use, but realistically, knowing that he was going to be doing them out of his home kitchen, seemed to be a big dream that they could use them all.
3 times a week, I fill up the truck, and there's got to be $500 to $1,000 worth of food in that truck 3 times a week.
It's definitely helped me sleep better at night, knowing that it's been gone to a great cause.
Try and repeat the garnish with the flavor.
It's safe to say their passion for feeding people evolved into a mission, which they estimate has saved upwards of $1 million worth of food. They gave their time and energy, and with only a handful of monetary donations, they shouldered almost all of the extra costs themselves. From an outside perspective, you could say they gave more than they received. You couldn't be more wrong.
You've changed?
Yeah, I've changed.
In a good way?
Yeah, in a good way, yeah.
I haven't focused on all the stuff that I can't do because of the pandemic. I focused on what I can do because of the pandemic. And what I can do is do what I love to do, cook and share my food with people.